He is a Christian, devoted husband, father, sportsman, and an advocate for children and parents. His early youth began in Montgomery, Alabama, and his primary residence has been Las Vegas. His teaching and administrative experience started in Las Vegas. His career included a few moves across the country and ended in Louisville, Kentucky. He moved back to Las Vegas with his wife, Judy, last spring after retiring. He recently wrote a book, NABC and Me, found on Amazon.com. He discusses his journey and how the National Alliance of Black Educators influenced his passion as a school turnaround specialist. Please help me welcome Bernard Hamilton with his speech, Successful Authors Must Market. Successful Authors Must Market, Bernard Hamilton.
Did you know that 95% of most authors make less than $15,000 a year? $15,000 a year from my book? Well, that was a wake-up call, friends. When I did my Pathways project and decided to join the book Zoom meeting that our fabulous Laura and Dorothea Daly put on recently, I had a wake-up call. Believe me, I had a wake-up call. Well, there was two other folks in that meeting, not Jimmy the Greek, but our own Jimmy. He was there, and so was Claire, one of our visitors that come in every once in a while. The meeting was great, folks. I've had other meetings about marketing on this project, trying to get a sense of what to do here. But this meeting was filled with golden nuggets that provided me much to reflect on. But it also challenged me to take the first and second steps now. The book meeting section included brainstorming over identifying my target audience, which included who and where those audiences would be located. Another session in that book meeting Zoom was identifying a problem I could solve, or problems I could solve for my audience. But my mind kept thinking of the two sessions on interviews about the book and what services and products I could provide my readers. You see, when I first was advised from one of my team members to think about what takeaways I wanted to share from the book, I had a mental block. In reality, my primary goal was just finishing the darn thing. The legacy of the book completed. My legacy completed. I got the book done. I had, in that book, flushed out my angels and my demons, and I just wrote it down. This included my writing about my nightmares as a child from the deep South, to my rewarding visits to our nation's capital to visit two different presidents decades apart. You probably want to know about those dreams. I'll just tell you about one quickly. In the South, I had the pleasure of seeing the real thing when it comes to segregation. I actually was leaving a theater one day and I had to run with my friends because there was a group of KKK actually following us in the middle of the day. I dreamed about that. I said, what would have happened if? Well, there's more about that in the book, but I'm not going to go on it now. You can read it. NAPS and Me is National Alliance of Black School Educators, NAPS and Me. The other that was a nightmare. But I talked about angels and how things went well for me. Well, visiting with George Bush and getting an award for being an outstanding principal was fantastic. Visiting with Barack Obama as president was fantastic. I'll talk about that a little bit in the book. But let me get back to the 2 sessions in my book, Marketing Zoom Meeting. The first session that I really liked dealt with interviews for my book promotions. I've done many interviews in the past, but what happens with in this session is that we learn how to make up our own questions. So when we get interviewed, we get the questions that we want to emphasize. So that was a great session. The other session that I liked quite well was the products and services. In that session, we talked about how to produce products that could promote the book. Well, something as simple as a mug or ink pen, just give them away. Has the name of the book, has a picture of the book, and you can use that for advertising. My favorite idea that we came up with that I thought about was partnering with my beautiful spouse. Here she is, a counselor, and I'm an educator, advising parents and kids on their future and going back to the book and thinking about how they can get certain things done was an idea that really gave me a great boost. The number one idea that I've heard once, and then when I heard it from Jimmy the Greek, I said, this has got to be the one. I'm going to change the name of the book. No one knows what NAPSI is except for NAPSI. But you'll hear more about that later. Thank you for listening, and thank you for the Toastmasters, because all those ideas came from within this group. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
All right, thank you very much, Bernard.